Show me a better system. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. So we have a legislative branch with the upper and lower, the House and the Senate. They write the laws. Then you have an executive branch that enforces the laws. And then you have a judicial branch that interprets the actions of the writing of the laws and the enforcement of the laws. And that's how it works. Supreme Court in the news today in a big way. Professor Josh Blackman is our guest. He has his 1-year-old son in the back seat as he does this.
No, Michael, not 1 year, 1 month.
One month? I thought he was a year.
He's a month old.
How many do you have now?
This is baby number 3.
Oh, my God. How many are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll see. I thought we were done at 2, but, things happen.
You're going forth and multiplying.
I love my family very much.
What does Mama think about all this?
Oh, she thinks you're done.
they often do, and things happen. Did you really put NPR before me? Did you really do an NPR interview before me?
They booked me before you. I just want people to know, Michael texts me, says, can you come in 20 minutes? That's how Michael rolls.
I normally don't give you that much time. All right, the Supreme Court all day today. I know that as our nation's Supreme Court expert, Josh Blackman, the man who knows more about the Supreme Court than anyone, that's why he's quoted far and wide, Fox News and everywhere else. He is the expert on all things Supreme Court. Today, one of the big cases that we're hearing arguments on is boys in women's sports. Give us kind of an overview of this.
Right. So this is an issue that would have been unthinkable when you and I were in school. It's could you allow biological males to compete in female athletics if they undergo certain kinds of hormone therapy, other testosterone suppression, and so on. Believe it or not, Idaho tried to ban biological males in female sports, and the Court of Appeals of the Ninth Circuit, which is in California, says, no, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. And then West Virginia also tried to exclude transgender athletes, and a transgender athlete sued and said, no, that violates federal civil rights laws. So it's really kind of a case that you couldn't have imagined. I've been listening now for almost 3 hours, Michael, at the Supreme Court this morning. The justices, I think, are grappling with it. I think ultimately the trans athletes lose this one, but I think they're really sort of struggling with how to deal with this issue. One of the examples was, men are better than women at chess. If you look at all the grandmasters in the world, they tend to all be men. Could you exclude, transgender athletes from a chess competition? There are some hard sort of borderline issues, but the fact here is it's a tiny percentage of athletes who are transgender. And if the state wants to make a rule that says the rule is male versus female, that's probably a good enough rule to go forward. If a few athletes are excluded, that might, upset some people, but that's not going to be a violation of the U.S. Constitution.
I think most people probably find it creepy. I think most of middle America says it's just weird. But what's the actual basis? Not enough people are harmed doesn't seem to be a good enough reason.
Well, yeah, I think the rationale is the state wants a rule that's easy to administer. I mean, if you want to get into the science, you'd have to basically check for testosterone on a fairly regular basis. And frankly, most high schools don't have the budget and the protocol to do that. So they adopt a more generalized rule. If you're born biologically male, you can't participate. Period. And that's a rule and might affect a fairly small percentage of athletes. But it's as I might say, it's good enough for government work. The government doesn't have to act with perfect 100% solution. 99% is sufficient.
Law school's 30 years ago for me. You were a professor, but remind me, or tell me if I'm right. The real question here isn't, is it constitutional or not? The question is, does a governing body have the authority to write a law? Is it sufficiently narrowly tailored? Does it have a real purpose, not just to discriminate or be mean? And is it based in a power that they would have? And assuming those things to be the case, it really doesn't matter what the law is. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's certain things where the government has to be very careful, like race, for example. There are really not many good reasons to separate people based on race. The court said for gender, you need a pretty good reason, but as long as you have a good reason, that's enough. And here, the reason is to level the playing field due to the inherent biological advantages. And that's probably a good enough rationale for this rule. It wouldn't say, we want to exclude girls from math class or something. That's not going to fly. It's the specific biology aspect. It's not about persecuting transgender people. The law isn't targeting them. It's targeting people who have an unfair biological advantage.
Professor Josh Blackman of the South Texas College of Law is our guest. Birthright citizenship is before the court. What do we need to know there?
So this case we argued at some point probably in March or April. Oh, my son's getting fussy. Speaking of birthright, he was born in Texas. So the issue here is whether Trump can deny certain birth documents to the children of illegal aliens. This is an issue that people sort of thought was settled because for about 100 years, the executive branch has said, yes, we will treat the children of those here illegally as U.S. citizens. The Supreme Court has decided cases in the past, which is a related issue. If you're the child of an immigrant, let's say you're on a green card or some sort of work visa, you're a citizen. The court has never directly addressed whether the children of illegal aliens are themselves citizens. I don't think this argument goes Trump's way. I think Trump loses this one bigly, if I could say. And I think we're going to have a rule that, Michael, if you don't like what the Supreme Court says, we can amend the Constitution. And I think there actually might be a good number of states who would favor eliminating birthright citizenship. In most countries in Europe, you don't have it. In some Latin American countries, you don't have it. It's not guaranteed. And given thoughts on immigration now, maybe the question is there something for the constitutional amendment process?
It's another example of something with the best of intentions that certain people abuse, and then you have to go changing it because of the abuse. No good deed goes unpunished. And finally, the president's power to fire the FTC commissioner. Lots of challenges to the power of the president and his ability to exercise those. Thoughts on that case?
Right. So back in the New Deal, FDR tried to fire a commissioner of the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. And the Supreme Court said, no, FDR, you can't do this. That's too much power for you. Congress should be able to protect these people. Trump's like, all right, FDR tried it. He lost. Let me try it again. Now, what's going for Trump, though, is the Supreme Court has sort of chipped away at those New Deal precedents from the Roosevelt era. I think Trump actually wins this one. And as my son is saying, it's going to be a very sad day for the FTC commissioner when he loses. I'm sorry.
You think they will uphold the power of the president?
Yeah, I think the court upholds Trump's power to fire the commissioner.
If he can't fire the commissioner, who could? He's the head of the executive branch and duly elected.
No one. That's the point. If Trump lacks the power to fire him at will, then they basically serve out their tenure. Unless they basically break the law or engage in some sort of misconduct, they are there for the full term.
Professor Josh Blackman, as always, a pleasure. Take care of your 1 month old. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
I have a buddy named